the time. We're starting off on the El Clasico of AoE 2 maps, and that would be Arabia. Villese playing as the Gujaras here, and Liereyy has chosen the Chinese, so we'll see how his start is going to look with that -100 food.
Yeah, Chinese not making much of an appearance in the first couple days of play, but with those bans, a much more valuable Civ pick. Just, I mean, so many tech options have the Chinese, and so on a map like Arabia, where you can really go into anything, they're going to feel good.
I think you can I think Villese is kind of calling out Lierey's playstyle just a little bit, though, going for the Gujaras, because he knows that Liereyy is really tempted to go into like crossbows early, and you get those 6 to 7 Shravamsha riders out. You can't scale them well into 20 of them because Chinese have camels.
Totally.
But you get the first 6 or 7 out, you stall at that pressure, and then you just expand your economy behind.
Also, take a look at this. Both of the maps have some difficulty in walling around their golds. Very open stretches of land, and another big hill up in front of this main gold for
that's
Liereyy.
Gonna be tough for Liereyy. And if you're playing Chinese, you want to lock it down, right? Especially against Shravamsha riders. You want the full walls.
Look at how much space there is out there.
It is wide open. It is a field.
Goodness.
There is a somewhat safe stone there for Villese, and I think Villese will want to maybe TC that gold at some point, but it's going to be hard to keep accessing that during the feudal age, especially with pressure from a player like Liereyy. Villese, of course, with his herdables, garrison that mill, but there's 2 at the back that he hasn't found yet. So 2 pigs that can be in that mill but aren't already, and it's only 3 sheep inside of there so far.
Yeah, bringing his second boar in just now. Of course, Liereyy does have that Vill advantage, as is afforded to him by playing the Chinese. Loom click for Villese, so we'll hopefully have just enough to drop off after that and go up to the feudal age.
And then we wonder, what is his opening going to be, right? It's probably going to be into scouts here and just take a look around Lierey's base. I think his scout hasn't gone forward yet, his camel scout.
No, not just yet. Because he's still trying to find those 2
And there we
sheep.
go. He finally finds the pigs at the back. He made the full circle around in the last possible area. The last little piece of darkness, he found those in. So he's going to get those into the mill. A little bit of a slower start for him. And, of course, Liereyy hasn't scouted his opponent either, but he scouted the walling potential here. And he's sending villagers towards that back wood line. I'm just curious how both players are going to choose to lock down their main gold, or if Liereyy is going to go to that one at the back.
There it is. Yep, there it is. Yeah.
I'm trying, man. I'm trying.
Mirroring is hard.
Yeah, exactly.
It's really difficult, to say the least. So it's a 21 pop up here for Liereyy. Only about 10 seconds behind his opponent. Barracks just now going down for Villese and starting off a very conservative wall towards the TC, which I actually really like.
Yeah, you can't get away with the big ones here. When you're going up on 19 population, you need to save all the resources you can. And you see Villese, he's thinking about the wall, but he's doing it one piece at a time, right? He's kind of building his little Lego structure, but he's only buying them not in the full set, just a singular piece.
And you know what? If he gets these walls down on the southern side, it is very much a similar situation to what Hera found himself in the Arabia yesterday, where all he had to do was worry about defending his gold with military, while everything else was relatively safe. And so here we go, feudal age reached for Villese, the same for Liereyy. A little bit late on the barracks timing, though, so 2 vills trying to force it down before he can go for another military building. A couple villagers on gold, and the stable on its way now for Villese.
Yeah, and Villese beating Yo's Chinese with Gujaras. So he played this exact same matchup yesterday. Yo and Liereyy are 2 very different players stylistically, though. And I think Lierey's going to focus more towards that army mass initially and it just expanding on his military numbers, whereas Yo would be like the more counter raids. You know, he's playing into knights more often. Liereyy plays into knights as a fallback when it's clear that his initial archers aren't going to cut it.
Exactly. Ooh, 2 pigs stolen.
That's valuable for Gujaras.
If you can get them all the way home, absolutely.
And Lierey's like, where did those go?
Where the heck did those go? Okay, harassment as he tries to get the palisade walls down. So Villese bringing another villager out to get that complete. I'm worried every time I see, I know it's very unlikely, but when you include a straggler in the middle of your walls.
Yep. Villagers
some
coming
shenanigans.
forward. I think it's extremely unlikely.
Very unlikely.
Very unlikely.
Especially in tournament play.
Exactly. And most players will be scouting for reinforcements, so they'll see that villager come forward immediately. As Villese is doing right now, Liereyy trying to go forward, but the small numbers, which he's known for, And a lot of hits come in on that archer, and the spearman only gets one hit on the camel scout. So great opening engagement already from Villese, and that's giving him more than enough time to wall off the backside of his base. It's still wide open up there, and Vodka's pointing out the fact that Villese has not spotted that wood line to the north.
Yeah, really fantastic pick for him, and it will give his villager permission to be out there all on his lonesome to complete those walls. Plenty of spears in defense, though. Liereyy does recognize how open his base is.
I love the little things that Liereyy does, too. Like, he was doing this before a lot of other people were. You saw him bringing in that final deer. He sent 4 villagers out. He brings in the final deer, and normally in a position like this, you'd be trying to get farms down to get your food income up, but he's got 100 in the bank as now scouts come in to find a villager, and Liereyy was a little bit distracted at Vilese's base, and that's going to cost him.
Yeah, another great pickup by Villese. KD 2-0 in total, and one of those being a villager, but might lose one of his own back at home, and does just that. Wow, the scout micro there from Liereyy, losing almost nothing as long as he continues to run away from the spearman, and he does.
Yeah, and the scouts aren't doing much for Villese either. The main difference here is that one player is fully walled, and the other player is still playing incredibly open. And you're playing incredibly open against the Gujaras that can go for those Shirvamshas in early Castle Age and can really, really punish you for that. So I think Lierey's going to have to keep his eye on how he can wall up before they get to the Castle Age. I don't think this is going to be an extended feudal. However, Liereyy is adding a stable as we speak.
Yeah, he's at least able to wall up his wood line, so no more threat to losing villagers to a couple of scouts. But like you say, stable going up here, scouted out by Villese, so won't be a surprise to him at this point. But I can't imagine too much scout production by Liereyy, knowing that the walls are almost complete back at home.
How much HP is on that scout at the very back of Lese's base?
Almost full.
Ooh, that's an annoying one. Oh, we're like the devil and the angel on Lierey's shoulder. I'm just like, kill the things.
He's looking for it.
And Liereyy just leaves, but he's going to find the pigs.
He's going to get the pigs.
No, pig denial. Pig denial, one tile, pig denial.
Next level pig micro. Next level pig micro. And he's going to get those home for the Gujaras player. Fletching on the way now for Villese to aid those skirms and scouts that are kind of controlling the center of the map. Good pick here, though. Making really great use of this single scout here from Liereyy to get rid of a skirmisher.
Yeah, and that's big value, right? All the units you can take, the great trades early, fantastic stuff from Liereyy, and I guess he sees more value in that scout being in the middle of the map doing stuff like that than in the back of Vilese's base, potentially sniping villagers. Liereyy forced to stay at home, however. He's got scouts of his own. Villese still has the starting scouts, and he's waiting for the armor from the skirmishers. But now that he's seen the scouts from Liereyy, this is going to be a very difficult battle to take. And behind this, Lierey's kind of walling up the other areas of his base, and he's getting himself secure in preparation for Castle Age.
Yeah, now Villese does have both upgrades for his ranged units, so Lierey's not comfortable taking the fight just yet, but is able to force those units back. Again, just maintaining control of that hill in front of his main gold, now getting a blacksmith up of his own, as well as increasing those scout numbers by just a bit, up to 4.
Look at the res collected right now. It's like dead even. Like, honestly, it's so close. Both of these players playing this pretty passively so far. Lierey's looking for an opportunity to jump because he has more scouts, but Villese controlling that hill very nicely, and with the armor as he gets wheelbarrow in preparation for clicking up the Castle Age. He's also adding in camel scouts, and he hasn't clicked up yet. This is
I don't know about this fight here from Villese, though. Maybe overextending just a little bit, and Liereyy pulls the villagers just to have a little bit more of a presence. Okay, Spears looking for downhill hits onto these scouts. A couple of skirmishers, removed, but it's the archers that fall in return, and that's a lot of value gained here for Villese. Full-on engagement up the hill. Skirmishers moving forward, continue to remove numbers, and he feels like he has to put down a tower.
Yeah, and I don't think he expected that additional camel scout to come. Like, who is making these things? Right? We don't see them unless you've already clicked up to Castle Age. And that camel scout was just enough to keep the skirms moving forward. They're going to kill all of the archers, force the tower out. Liereyy has enough in defense, but there's another camel scout here, and that should be able to engage once the spearman gets sniped down. Villese is still buying himself tons of time. Both players thinking about Castle Age, Liereyy a little bit closer.
Liereyy much closer. Second archery range, though, going down. Now beginning the house walls to protect that main gold. But overall, pretty solid trades there for Villese and removing gold units in the archers.
Interesting camel scouts.
So many camels.
Like it's not something you really see in Feudal Age because it costs food and gold, right? And they're not that effective.
And it is what's delaying him to his Castle Age timing, right?
Exactly, but he did get Wheelbarrow. He's not going to be that far behind Liereyy, who just clicked up right now, and he's still holding forward pressure on the Chinese. He's applying pressure towards them. He took the stone away, so Liereyy can't go for an easy boom. And Villese, of course, now will... Did he sell his stone?
He did. He just
and
built the market, sold a
okay.
stone, gets the click up. Both players at 18, 19 farms apiece, so very healthy food economies. Castle Age separation here, about 40 seconds. Horse Collar coming in for Liereyy alongside the gold mining upgrade, and we've got the first armor upgrade for the cavalry units for the Gurjaras player.
Okay, Skirm's looping around, going to harass this woodline a little bit. Liereyy has the walls down. It's not the most effective walling of this base, especially with those two golds exposed on the other side, and the gold being right up against the walls to the south, but he's secured his base to some degree, and Villese, with just skirmishers, will not be able to kill a villager.
It's annoying more than anything.
Yeah.
But you do have to imagine that Liereyy would have preferred to have walled all the way to the edge of the map, secured himself a back wood line or two, and so that could come to bite him later in the game if Villese is ever able to loot more potent ranged units around the back side. But Liereyy, recognizing the positioning of the army from Villese, starts to move forward with forces of his own.
Yep. Important to note that Villese's camels will upgrade immediately to camel riders in Castle Age, so he can keep adding them here in the transition period, and I think he can spit out probably one more once this one in production comes out. So that's going to be a nice little boost for him immediately, but Liereyy will reach Castle Age 35 seconds before him, and in Liereyy fashion, he's going to be right on the wood line with the transition period. 30 seconds until crossbow comes in, 30 seconds until Bodkin. Liereyy sees that wood line, and then he's like, no, I'm not going to show myself.
Up play, though, from Villese.
He's like, I know what you're doing. I've seen this a million times.
Wow, that was next level from both players, though, because Liereyy wanted to wait for the upgrades to really make it a strong initial attack, but Villese calls him in his attempt
going to spot the villager. That's the Vil coming out, maybe for Siege Workshop, or is he's lost?
No, it's just a lumberjack who's lost his way.
Yeah, he's very lost, as Villese now goes for a university wall behind that, but he's wasting a lot of wood on this, and he's going to have to waste some more, as he doesn't want Liereyy to get in. Camel scouts are now camels. He'll send them back. This isn't the greatest situation for Villese, because now all that map control he was holding early, he's given up to Liereyy.
And the wood investment on that university is what's preventing him from getting an elite skirm click, which he would maybe want to have. He did get Bodkin, a couple Shravamsas onto the field, so if he gets those numbers up, could loop around, surround these crossbows, and do some real damage.
There is a camel from Liereyy, and Liereyy needs to meet this camel up with his crossbow army. And when he takes the fight against Shravamsas, which he inevitably will, Villese is now badly housed, actually. He's forced to make a bunch.
Delete that university.
He's going to need to keep the scouts and the camels in front of his crossbows. Okay. And here come the Shravamsas now.
Here we go, looking for an engagement against the scouts. The camel does loop in, and we found ourselves a beautiful hill here for the crossbows, and so once again forced off, and look how many of those farms are now idled.
You can choose to lane the farms or try and go after the mill for the constant food income. I think Liereyy won't go after the mill immediately. He's just going to hang out here and idle this area. Looks like Villese still has the skirmishers being a little bit annoying, but that's all they are. They're a little bit annoying, and because Villese sold that stone early, he wasn't able to go for that second and third TC. He actually bought the stone back, and...
Does he have the numbers now? That's the question. Two more camels arrive to the party, though, and these Shravamsas don't have any options. Once again, retreating with 10 Vils.
Like, if he had those if he had a slightly faster castle time, maybe he doesn't make as many camels, like in the lead up to Castle Age, he could have punished this army big time. But instead, he is losing in his own base against the crossbows from Liereyy.
The value gained here from Liereyy at the moment with this battle, and he's still going to win out in numbers. Even through all of this, Villese doesn't quite have it. A couple more camels working away on the Shravamsas. Oh, lordy, this is looking tough for Villese.
Yeah, and it's not even like the worst trades in the world, right? You see the resources destroyed. It's fairly even, but Liereyy is idling this entire area. We don't know what Villese was doing out there.
No, Villese's like, you can have the back of my base. I'm going forward. Drops a very forward TC on that wood line as he finally clears up Lierey's forces in his base. Deletes the university to gain back some of that wood and rehouse wall. and now moves on to 2 TCs.
And I think Lierey's thinking about 2 TCs too. He's got 1 on stone right now, so he just needs 25 stone, but still, Vilese's going to be there faster.
Exactly. 2-Vil lead currently for the Chinese player, but Villese will close that gap quickly. Forging just completed here for Liereyy, moving forward with another 11 crossbows and 2 camels. Not going to find a ton of damage, though, because the TC did go up protecting the wood line.
Now, TC kind of becomes a target. If Liereyy takes map control, he can come forward with a Siege Workshop. Maybe it's going to be difficult with the Shrevamshas currently, but Liereyy is switching now on to Knights. He's getting that +2 armor.
Yeah, I wonder if he's actually adapting and going to stick on 1 TC, investing into the second armor upgrade and Bosa.
No, I think he's probably going to add a second one at some point. It's just what the timing on that is going to be.
Bloodlines now as well. All the upgrades, but this is a lot of Shrevamshas and camels on the side of Villese, so you have to be careful with these crossbows. Doing a great job of finding elevation, though, every time an engagement is about to happen.
Monastery coming in for Villese. I think that's more for healing his units because the crossbows are still there, or if he ever wipes up the crossbows, he can convert the camels. Also might sense that the camel production is going to start expanding here for Liereyy, as he might have seen that +2 come in. Bloodlines also coming in.
Yeah, once again, working away on those palisade walls, quick to get inside, and he said, hey, this hill worked out for me last time around. Why don't we just go right back?
Yeah, and every time he comes back to this hill, it's not even just the fact that it's a difficult place for Villese to fight. It's the fact that all of those farms are being denied, and now he's like, maybe I can take out this mill. If I attack it, I'm going to force him into a battle. The crossbows are still alive here. Great positioning from Liereyy to keep the camels in front, constantly in between the crossbows and those Shrevamshas.
Yeah, Villese looking for the surround, but he just doesn't seem to have the numbers, and even so, while he might clear it up, he's not.
Oh, no, he's not even close.
Bro, he's not. It's a camel graveyard.
Wow.
Shrevamsha's dying there, and the GG comes in from Villese, and Liereyy just doing Liereyy things. The army numbers were relatively equal, right? The res destroyed was relatively equal. The res collected was relatively equal. Liereyy just had a better snowball.
Yeah, it's just all about, he's just so good with pressure. And again, he keeps his numbers up for the most part all the way through the game, right? He got a couple nice picks with that scout, the scout value that he found with that starting scout.
Yep.
A couple skirms early, and then just always finding the right moment on the map to fight, always with a terrain advantage and the high ground. Beautifully executed on Arabia, but it is a map that you would initially favor Liereyy on.
Yeah, I think if you were to ask Villese, he might have wanted to not make as many camels scouts in the lead up, right? We were talking about it, how people don't usually do that because it's the resources you need for Castle Age.
Right.
And it kind of hurt him, right? Also, because he did that, he needed to sell his stone to hit the timing. And if he had his stone, he could have gone for a tower maybe behind those walls to stop the crossbows coming in, or for a second TC immediately in defense. It was a very, very tough position he put himself in. Good early pressure, but that kind of sacrificed your defensive capabilities for Liereyy pushing forward in Castle.
Definitely. And yeah, Liereyy did a fantastic job of holding on to his main gold and that initial position, forced a tower up of his own, right? He understood the importance of that gold in getting himself to the Castle Age. And so there it is, a 1-0 lead for Liereyy. Onus is on Villese to pick the next map and a winning position for himself.
Where do you go here? Do you go for...
I think you go Hippo Arena.
Hippo Arena, yeah. Outcrop doesn't feel like you really have that much of an advantage over Liereyy, right?
It's kind of
still
the
an
same
open
thing.
map.
Yeah, it feels a lot like Arabia.
And I think Hippo Arena, what Civ Liereyy picks, because his Civ draft is kind of like, it's kind of open, right? You can use a bunch of these on all of these maps. You can rotate effectively. So I think with Hippo Arena, you're kind of like narrowing down the choices of what he can pick.
Right.
I was on Morass and Outcrop.
I think you would generally assume, like, the Turks is the most obvious pick for Hippo Arena, but like you said, there's always, ever since day one, TaToH is going to make everyone consider that the Khmer pick can always go there and do something tricky. So that will be a tough call for Villese to make.
I wonder where Magyar's slot in, because we saw Doubt in the qualifiers pick Magyars on Hippo Arena.
So Hera picked it on Morass.
There is that,
in the
but
Bulgarians matchup against ACCM.
He also has some other good civs for Morass, right? Like, if Liereyy doesn't want to go for the Khmer on Hippo Arena and go for that TaToH strategy, which looked incredibly strong, he can pick maybe Khmer on Morass as well.
Could also be Dravidians,
Dravidians is likely for Kawasan,
you would
but
think,
it could be. It could be.
Yeah, the only advantage, quote unquote, the Dravidians would give you is like obviously your shorefish villagers. They're going to carry a lot more, which is nice for that food eco. But again, yeah, I would assume Magyars to Moraz, Dravidians to Kawasan. So then it's between Turks and Khmer for Hippo Arena.
I think like credit to Liereyy though for having a draft that you really don't know. Like usually you can pick a civ and say like that one is going to get picked there. Liereyy, you really don't know, and Liereyy is playing
the Khmer,
but Villese is playing the Bohemians, and I feel like the Bohemians are going to have a lot better options against that death ball from the Khmer than the Burgundians did.
Yeah, and we'll have to see then what Liereyy chooses to go for. Is he going to go for the same thing that TaToH went for, which was like a 4 TC boom into much later stable like Cav production? Or if he'll try to go for something a little tricky himself, kind of mind gaming his opponent into thinking he'll go the TaToH route. For the Bohemians, of course, if you let them get all the way to like Halb Hufnitsa, it just becomes this unstoppable force.
Yeah, and you can see it right there. We've got the Hussite. Maybe we'll see Hussite Wagon versus Ballista Elephant. I don't know what
the
happens.
dream is alive. Yeah,
what happens? We don't know.
Somebody, well, yeah, hopefully we find out.
Yep. But Bohemians, very, very good on arena-style maps. We haven't really seen them here as often as we did on a more closed version because they're a very slow push, right? And having so much space on this map, it's tough for them to utilize mobility like a lot of other civilizations. On the other side, we have the Khmer, of course, and we saw the Ballista Elephants from TaToH. The important thing there for TaToH is he went for a super fast uptime. You don't have to make the buildings. You can click right away, and I think he clicked up with like 23 villagers or something like that to Castle Age.
Yep.
And you have the farms that drop off food instantly. So he went for the big boom and then opened with 3 stable scouts to get map control.
Yeah, in mass, those Ballista Elephants are absolutely terrifying in the late game if you can get to them. And again, as you mentioned, not having to build any of those necessary buildings to get up to the next age really streamlines your build and can get you to the point of eco rolling much quicker from TCs. So we'll see if Lierey's got the build order in lock. He typically does. So I'd expect him to be strong. What's he doing with the scout here? You're not going to push the deer?
He's thinking about it. I think he wants to not have any wasted food running away. And Liereyy, if you watch his camera on this Hippo Arena map, as he now starts to push right as those hunt are expiring there, he's timing it perfectly because it needs to be really tight. If you watch him on this Hippo Arena, like he will just straight up take both hands off the keyboard, take a drink of water, you know, like adjust everything and then look back 30 seconds later because on a map like this where you don't have to worry about scouting and such, the start is a little bit more relaxed.
Yeah, especially because relic placement is so well known typically on this map, right? You're almost always split exactly one to the north of each base and one to the south of each base, you know, towards each other's or towards your own, and then one somewhere in the middle.
So let's theorycraft here.
Okay.
Right? Ultimate
Bohemians, Castle Age, hand cannon push.
No, okay. Well, you went
Look,
Castle.
he can't click the button this time, so do what Hera did to him yesterday, knowing that he can't click the button.
But he doesn't have Janissaries.
But you have hand cannons in Castle Age.
I mean, yes, you do.
You said theorycraft, so
you didn't let me finish my sentence.
I'm sorry.
I said, let's theorycraft super death ball compositions for both civs. We know what it is for the Bohemians, right?
Yeah.
It's probably going to be Halb Hufnitsa.
Exactly.
Right? The Halbs do extra bonus damage. They do super extra bonus damage against Ballista Elephants, which I believe have cavalry and elephant armor on them.
They would, yeah.
So they do ridiculous damage against elephants.
You have to close
if
that
you
gap,
get close.
though.
Yeah, but the Hufnitsa, if the Ballista Elephants are dancing around and trying to, you know, back away from the Halbs, you can punish him.
Definitely.
That potentially.
Yeah, no, it would be scary to try and walk in their slow-moving unit. So good target fires from Villese could make quick work of those very expensive units. Of course, also, Ballista Elephants are tremendously expensive to upgrade if you want everything, right? If you want that kind of double projectile.
They're just really expensive to make. And you need a ton of castles, too, so your opponent needs to not be trebbing down your castles at the front. It's going to be really, really difficult, and that's why TaToH went for the 3 stable approach into Light Cav, and then he went immediate Halb And then once he was like Hussar Halb controlling the map, then his eco was set up perfectly to go into Villese. As we see, instant Castle Age, so satisfying. 23 villagers, exactly the same build that TaToH went for previously.
Yeah, feels good. Both players reaching feudal at exactly the same moment, but now you'll notice the lead extends for Liereyy as Villese still has to get those 2 feudal age buildings up. Market Blacksmith, no surprise, and he'll click in just a second.
Yep. All right. So
Horse collar on the way for the Khmer player. The rest of the eco upgrades will follow. And now it's just a matter of how many TCs. No vills on stone, so will likely be an immediate 2 TCs dropped.
So Villese, does he do something different? Does he let Liereyy get to this composition that seems so strong? Or does he mix it up?
I mean, at the moment, based on where I see his vills on resources... Wait, he just spent all of his wood. I guess with 2 minutes still to Castle Age, he'll get back to enough. That's more farms than I would have expected.
Yo, KD, thank you for the $100 in the prize pool, by the way. Perfect time to donate on Hippo Arena.
Yes.
As we're in this stalemate, and we're wondering if they're going to contest the center or they're going to go for a boom.
100% of all donations go directly into the prize pool.
Exactly, which then goes to the players. So obviously we love to see that update live. We love to see the distribution get adjusted.
And we love that you gave us something to talk about.
Exactly. We've already raised $5K here.
That's beautiful.
In addition to the $50K that was originally part of the prize pool. So fantastic stuff. Both players just kind of tracking the scouts now. As we said before, the relics are always in a standard position. Not exactly the same, but there's 2 on the bottom, 3 on the top. As Liereyy gets to the Castle Age, goes for that second town center. Villese is already building houses along the walls, and it looks like he's just going to do Villese things and go for the boom rather than contesting the center since he opened Market Blacksmith and not with a barracks.
Yeah, Scout escaping to the safety of the walls. Waiting to see 12 seconds until Villese hits the Castle Age, but 500 wood in the bank means we'll likely see 2 TCs, 1 on the main gold almost certainly. There's the second one for Liereyy to reach 3. Thank you so much for another $100 into the prize pool.
I know him well, and I'm glad to see him here, as with many of my other viewers and many fans of Age of Empires. Recognize a lot of names in the chat this week. And we've got, what, 5 more days to go?
We do. Exactly that. 1 more day of group stage and then 4 days of bracket stage play. 3 TCs apiece here. Bosa for both players. And so it's going to be a battle of booms.
I like this approach from Villese with the Bohemians. You get both the mining upgrades, the stone mining and the gold for free, which means you have a lot of gold in the bank, even if you only have like 2 or 3 vills on it from going up to Castle Age. And you can use that to buy the wood, buy the food that you need to expand your boom, right? So it's a greedy approach. We see him adding some more villagers onto gold, and I think that's going to continue the market usage. He still hasn't dropped a monastery to my knowledge, so he's just going into the boom. Liereyy still ahead on villagers currently because he got up to Castle Age so quickly there with the Khmer.
Yeah, just a couple vill lead, and as you mentioned, no player looking for the relics just yet. Still a lot of scout activity, just in case the opponent does, and you do want to be aware of that. But, yeah, no priority placed on those relics just yet.
He only I think we're missing a T. He only wants to play Khmer on Hippo. The only ones to play Khmer on Hippo Arena were GL's Jordan and TaToH. What's even more interesting, TaToH beat none other than Villese with this save in the final round of the first qualifier as Lowy Low Nobody donates $69. Nice prize pool for a nice tournament with a nice pair of casters with a nice Civ matchup that will take a nice amount of time to really get rolling. I predict the first. Okay, when's the first kill? First kill is in.
I'm going with 1830, just like I did the other day.
1830
with Nili.
Okay,
yeah,
I'm gonna go.
It's my magic number.
1831.
Dun, 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 dun. Price is Right rules. He got me.
I'm going to be that guy, dude. I'm him.
All right, monastery up, though, for Villese. So is starting to think about contesting for those relics and 1 monk on the way.
And it's like, when do you send these monks out? Because you know your opponent isn't going for
at 18
scouts
minutes.
Early.
At 18 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. So it can die at exactly
That's my hope.
Yeah. So you know your opponent's likely doesn't have his stable up yet, right? If he's going for the same build, probably with that Castle Age time he is. Do you try and sneak the monk out early, or do you do buddy system with your monks. And it looks like Villese, now that he's tracking the scout from Liereyy, he lost him for a second there, is probably going to send that monk to the north and try and snag that relic.
Yeah, chase him away. Give yourself the opportunity to maybe bring one of those relics in nice and quickly. More donations rolling in over Hippo Arena. Gotta love it. Thank you so much, everybody. Let's see here. Got the first hit in the scout
really
battle.
Nice. That's really nice, because now he can feel secure in sending that monk to the north. And you can see that monk already on the way. Villese has a second monk coming too. Liereyy, is he going for the monastery yet? I don't believe he is. I think he's just sending a villager forward to try and trap this. Yeah, you can see the house there already. So he wants to bait this scout in. And then, oh my God, sorry, my voice just cracked there. Flying Big Red, another big supporter of mine, coming in with $500 towards the prize pool. Do you hear that?
Yeah, that was well earned though. That was a well-earned voice crack, if I do say so myself.
Casting 4 days.
Fantastic. Gotta love it. Okay, archery range of all things for Liereyy in the Castle Age, which is kind of peculiar considering that it's at the moment just a scout and a monk for your opponent.
Archery range. Okay, so what? This is very interesting.
Yeah, justify that for me.
This is a different approach than the one that TaToH took, and maybe he feels like Villese is going to open with something different, right? So we'll have to see what Liereyy has planned from this range, and of course it's Liereyy, so it's going to be a crossbow approach from him, and
also,
he's already started massing them in the castle.
Okay, aware of the monks moving out onto the field, attempted conversion, scout runs away, 1831 has crossed, so I lose no matter what.
Yep. At
this point, due to Price is Right rules.
And Lierey's up. Liereyy is up here. So he's got 2 ranges. He's going to go for the Arbalest approach. And he's already got 550 stone in the bank. So I think he knows that Villese is going to prioritize going up for these relics in the north. And Liereyy is going to go forward with a castle.
And honestly, I love it because what did we talk about? The mass that you want for Bohemians involves a lot of halbs. Halb's not great into crossbows and or
but
Arbalists.
It also involves a lot of early bombard cannons because you already have chemistry. So going forward with a castle placement like that is a risk because they can hit that timing. As soon as they're an imp, bombard cannons come out, boom, 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 your forward's dead, and your crossbows or arbalists need to be micring all over the place to avoid those shots.
That puts an emphasis then on Villese actually clicking to imp, looking for the first kill, and he does get the snipe.
1956, Price is Right rules. Dave wins the day. On the kill prediction, the KD is now 1-0. Liereyy in absolute shambles here as Villese takes the lead.
We'll send Dave to the final showcase a little later on to see if he can win the whole vacation package. Interesting, though, that Villese has not been able to scout the military yet. Hasn't seen those archery ranges, and in fact, the crossbows skirt around the other direction.
Yeah.
And so do the villagers. So, again, Villese operating blind at the moment.
Yep. And we can see from his point of view with that scout, he might dip it back down south and find this. Ooh, he might just miss it by a tile dash. Let's get into the screen here. He sees the villagers coming forward. The bear is going to be a distraction. The scout is going to be there. It's going to be very weak. And he also sees the crossbows. Villese has clicked up to the Imperial Age. Chemistry can come in Castle Age for the Bohemians, so he can get a really, really nice timing on the bomber cannons. And honestly, dude, I do not mind this castle.
Really?
Because this castle will give you a position to get through the walls anyway. You don't need to cut off that gold. You're doing it with the crossbows.
Okay.
And it's not easy for Villese to sit inside his base and bomber cannon this down. He has to come out, be exposed, and you can snipe the bombards with your range.
All right, you're actually convincing me with that second piece right there. And a very defensive castle placement from Villese here. I also love the fourth.
No, you don't do this with Liereyy. Villese, you don't do this with Liereyy. He obviously didn't mean to, but Liereyy leaves one crossbow in there, and now the nerd is in to the hen house.
That is terrifying. Look, completely reroutes all of his military instantaneously to try and get them in through this gate. The monks are going to try and force them away.
Targeted.
The siege workshop wall.
Brilliant. Brilliant stuff from the Finn, and he is not going to let anybody in there. Maybe nervous moments for him.
Yeah, heads up play from Villese, and I'll be honest, the fact that he was able to get this many villagers outside the walls and place extra TCs, because Lierey's done this before. He goes to wall in his opponent, but it's not going to be nearly as effective at this point.
And he only started this a few months ago, really walling in on Arena, but it works so well against Hera at TGM that he's going to try it again and again and again, and it's been working for him, so why not? He walls in the north side, but like you said, so good from Villese to know that Liereyy is completely tunneled down the middle and to sneak those villagers out.
Yeah, Trebs begin working away on the walls. Villese just now hitting the Imperial Age. Block printing Loom just in case Liereyy does penetrate. And then, of course, Bodkin for himself. He already has chemistry, and so there comes the first bombard cannon on the way now.
If you're a Treb, how do you miss a wall? There we go. Okay. He hits the wall, and the crossbows are in, and the Treb will follow. And Liereyy continues to wall in Villese here. Villese, obviously, with the resources on the outside, but he's going to have to keep himself safe inside. And it's going to be really, really tough here with Lierey's micro. Good monk defense from Villese. He can hop in that TC once he gets the conversions or inside the castle. But the Trebs are working away. Block printing is in. 2 bomber cannons in the queue.
There was a hole there, but Villese is able to close it up there with a little bit of a market wall. Not much health on it, though, so Liereyy might be able to break through and be more of a threat to villagers. Another one comes over to get the tap, tap, tap away, and 2 Trebs working away on Villese's castle. Now we got the first bombard cannon forward. Can he make quick work of these Trebs?
Nice attack round there. And he's going to struggle to come in towards that castle. Bodkin arrow is in with that, of course. Villager, don't know where she came from, but now she's dead. Trebs still working their way in, and see what I mean about like the bomber cannons having to come forward to assault your Trebs?
Absolutely.
That range advantage, and you can use the archers to snipe them down, but so far Villese being very mindful of his positioning.
He's going to run out of stone. He's only got 3 on stone.
But he's forcing the Trebs to pack up. He's forcing the Trebs to pack up because Liereyy took that angle on the far left. He can only protect the front side with the crossbows, and now Villese is in a position to push out. He still has the villagers on the outside not trapped in, and Hufnitsa is on the way in for the Finns. So what does Liereyy do? Does he transfer into another unit composition? Does he even have the eco for that with only 20 on food?
Well, he thinks he does as he drops 6 stables behind the safety of his castle.
Oh, he just misses it. Wow.
He's been aware that this is a possibility for quite some time, but unfortunately, yeah, did just miss it. Also hasn't clocked that satellite village up in the north as well for Villese. But some time to breathe here. Hufnitsa 45 seconds away from being complete.
Dude,
the most important upgrade.
He's going into Hussar. He only has 27 on food. I know he's Khmer, but like...
35 on wood, could potentially transition into a farming eco quick soon.
He's dropping a few more. So he's going to be up 30 plus. Probably want like 50 in a few minutes from now. He's still got the Trebs alive, so credit to Liereyy. And this is why I didn't mind the castle being here, because the Arbalest can come in and snipe those bomber cannons.
Exactly.
And Villese can't really sit safely in his base until he has another castle up near that location. Hufnitsa is in, though, and Liereyy is deciding to go to the south because he's found that TC down there. He's going to give up this castle.
Ooh, indecisive, though. Now he's rotating back up to try and deal with the Hufnitsa. So it's going to be, he doesn't really know what to do exactly. Castle about to go down. No villagers there to repair. Arbalest looking for snipes on the Hufnitsa, but the Hufnitsa well aware and back away. Looking for target fires. Want to make quick work of this castle before transitioning on to the Trebs.
Good positioning from Villese, right? He was right at the edge of the range from those trebuchets, and he just went a little bit to the north, and Liereyy has to pack him up and then unpack again to fire at those. But Villese manages to take that castle down. And now Liereyy has some decisions to make. He went south a little bit, saw the Hufnitsa, came back up, was unable to kill them, is not going back down south again. Okay, now he makes the decision, and he switches all of his Trebs over there. Up to 35 farms, as Villese now pushes out, and he's gone for a siege tower. Villese has gone for a siege tower. What is that for? Is that a mistake?
I think that must be a misclick because there's no walls that you need to get through just yet. Here we go, the Hussar coming forward from Liereyy, going to clean up a whole bunch of the monks as the Hufnitsa are in retreat. The siege tower is going to play distraction.
Maybe it can block. Maybe it can block. Some halbs coming up, and it looks like it's distracting enough. The Hussar, they are not winged Hussars, so they don't get the bonus damage against gunpowder. And you can see that they're not really doing anything against these Hufnitsa. That one's going to survive. No, it goes down. At least he got one, but there is still 9 alive. I repeat, 9 Hufnitsa on the field here for Villese, and he's pushing back. He still has the stuff in the north. He still has the stuff in the south. even getting all the upgrades for his halberdiers, the upgrades for his monks, and Liereyy seems like he's struggling here as he's just trying to catch up with his economy.
Yeah, not a position you want to be in as the player that committed to the forward and even half-walling your opponent in. You thought you would hold that position till the end of the game, but now in full retreat mode and still looking for those techs on the Hussar. But now we have 9 Hufnitze rolling forward, plenty of halberdiers right behind.
What are you trying to kill your own villager?
I don't know what that was.
I don't know how they didn't die, but the stables that Liereyy has just made will go down. Liereyy is still trying to get his food eco sorted so he can Hussar spam. He's up to 44 farms, which is great.
He's going to start one-shotting
plenty of gold in the bank, and yeah, the stables are dying quite fast as Villese now goes for more barracks. How many barracks does he have right now? He's placed so many foundations there and in the south and maybe even in the north.
Well, because he's already got 8 fully queued, with dropping another 8 or so more.
He's ready to go.
Now he's ready to go. Look, hey, we got our Hussite wagon. Let's go.
We do have a Hussite wagon indeed. We've got the Hufnitze as well, looking for shots against the Arbalest. Liereyy doing a fantastic job keeping those alive. But the Hussar just aren't doing enough damage to snipe the Hufnitze. As the Arbalest come in, Leery's trying to snipe these down. He gets one. He might get a second here, but no, the Arbalists are just getting crushed. And Liereyy needs to retreat, and I don't know where he goes from here.
No, absolutely shredded. And now the military numbers well in Villese's favor, 42-17. Liereyy losing control of the map. Doesn't have too many options. You can see here just spamming the same units he's been working with so far, but you've been losing your position with those units as the Hufnitze continue to find great shots onto the Arbalest.
Yep. Dodging didn't work. Maybe I'll just run straight towards them, says that Arbalest, as both of his friends immediately die. Liereyy trying to mix things up with a siege workshop in the north, sending the Hussars forward. What's his population at? It's 153, 30 military on the field. Res destroyed, significant advantage for Villese. As we hit 10K viewers, thank you for tuning in to NAC4. We will be doing this for another 5 days. We've got 2 more days of group stage. If you want to keep supporting the tournament.
There it is.
And Liereyy calls the GG, and it was just like, the question was there, right? Is he going to go for the TaToH approach? Liereyy does do the same initial build, and then instead of opening with 3 stables to secure the map, going into Halbs and the Ballista Elephants, he thinks that Arbalest is the play. Arbalest didn't find really any value.
Yeah, it's a quintessential, Liereyy play, right? To go for the ranged unit over the melee one. But once again, I think for Villese to have snuck those villagers out to the 2 sides is hugely helpful. But beyond that, conservative castle placement, make sure he gets the Hufnitze upgrade up. Also was clutch that he got even just that siege workshop wall. And things like that, just little things preventing too much damage from coming through early, has the better late game composition, gets the Hufnitze numbers up, and had the unit control to roll through his opponent. So we've evened it up at 1-1. Villese happy to take a win on his home map, and now it's up to Liereyy to respond.
I think if you're going to go for like a forward castle into Arbalest play, there are civs that do that so much better than Khmer in that situation, right? The reason that TaToH picked Khmer there is because he can get his eco rolling, and then he can get into a death ball that is literally impossible to stop.
No, without a doubt. Funnily enough, right when you said it, I was looking at Villese's civs, and I was like, Malay would love to do that. Like really quick imp timings with Arbalest or something like that.
Do that well.
Turks could do it too.
I think Turks are a more popular choice there.
And actually, yeah, now that you didn't use Turks on Hippo Arena, they kind of feel like a misplaced civ.
You can potentially use them on Morass as well, if you want to, although I think there's better options for that. I mean, Turks might have just been picked as the mix-up for what he's going to pick on Hippo Arena. But now it is Lierey's choice, and Liereyy will likely go for his home map, and he's probably likely going to go for Morass. And this will be a crazy game, usually a fast one here. Dravidians seemed like a strong option, but you can use Dravidians on Kawasan. So maybe he goes for that Magyar approach instead. Maybe he goes Turks. There's even a world in which he could go Saracens. Very, very small world. It's an alternate universe, but he could choose to go for that route. Likely Saracens are more tailored towards Outcrop. On the other side for Villese, Bulgarians, probably the pick.
Yeah, I put the highest probability on Magyars and the highest probability on Bulgarians, which again is the only matchup that we've seen so far here at the tournament on Morass. But we'll instead be going to Kawasan. And it is going to be those Dravidians for our blue player Liereyy, and Lithuanians on the other side for Villese.
So Lithuanians can be really, really good here on hybrid maps, right? You start with that extra food, and that means you can send villagers to wood like Villese has done extremely early, and he will get the dock down really, really quick. Also, there's relics with standardized positions here. We've got 5 of them on this map, and Villese is going to be able to take advantage of that for his cavalry later on in the game. Dravidians are great, though. Their docks count as house or 5 population, so essentially a house as well. And they get that 200 wood when they advance to the next stage. So you can go for some sick timings with maybe water pressure into archers or even men-at-arms.
Yeah, Villese already out to the left-hand pond for his first dock.
He sees
again.
The villager from Liereyy. Ooh, Liereyy needs to keep his scout nearby. Like, Villese backed away from that. I don't know why. Maybe he didn't even fully
He might not
notice.
have seen it.
Like, he saw it, but maybe he didn't notice.
And Liereyy will see. He did just get vision.
Yep.
And redirects his villager. And so again, maybe going to go for a sneakier play.
That was a non-loomed villager, like heading towards a lower elevation.
Yeah.
Why are you not diving on that?
Could have been so dangerous.
He probably just didn't even notice it. But then again, his scout turned around at the right at the same second.
Yeah, he's still scouting the other pond, right?
Yep.
So that's what tells me that he didn't see it, because now he's going to check the opposite side. Of course, you can do just as much with that information. When you check the other side and don't see your opponent, you can kind of reassume that they've gone to the same side as you. But once again, the Lithuanian player with their dock up first means the fishing ship comes out just a little bit quicker. And they'll be aware pretty quickly, though, that they're both on the... Obviously, Liereyy already knows, but Villese will get that information quickly when their fishing ships meet in the middle.
Yeah, they're going to be sharing that same fish and kind of laming each other, because that's the closest fish to the dock there. And they're just going to be friendly for the time being. But Villese already getting loom and already looking to click up to the feudal age soon. Liereyy has a lot of hunt in his hands under his TC, so maybe he's got a food count that's close. But right now it looks like Villese will have a firm advantage to the next age. And I just wonder if you're Liereyy and you see that score drop from Villese when he clicks up, do you go for a land approach now? Because you're behind by at least 1 villager going up to feudal age. Contesting the water, even with that extra 200 wood, going to be so difficult here. You're going to be like a fire galley and a half behind.
Yeah, exactly. He goes for the loom click now.
Uh-oh.
We'll follow with...
Did see this one.
Alrighty.
And you can delay this. You can just keep delaying this. It's so far to that pond. You can keep pushing it away with the hill advantage here and then just wait for feudal age. You're like, how long? I got a minute and 20 seconds, and then I'm going to be 5 attack, baby. And you have to go back if you're Liereyy. Maybe go back and try and sneak another one. You don't want to show Villese your barracks either. And Villese doesn't dive in deep enough to see that, but he does see that villager taking gold.
Yeah, reroutes the villager onto gold and thinks better of going forward for a dock. Lierey's still pulling his scout back across the center of the map to maybe take a scout v scout engagement. Again, a reminder to everybody.
Another one. He sneaks another villager out there. So he's gone for the barracks.
Ooh, well done.
And he's sneaking that guy over there. The scout kind of engages, gets 1 hit. Liereyy knows. I think that tells me that Liereyy knows he's behind.
Yeah.
He's behind a feudal age because he backed away with the scout after he got a hit.
Yeah, he's going to go ahead and sack his left side pawn there. A second dock up for Villese. He's going to go look to maybe dock the right-hand side and just get a little food eco there. Militia out onto the field for Liereyy, so some land aggression to maybe catch Villese off guard, but boom, he tracks it just like that.
But we saw what the one militia showing from Yo did earlier against Nicov. Remember, he invested like 400 wood into walls?
There goes the walls, and there go the walls.
Yeah, exactly. He sees the militia and its walls, but Liereyy decides to follow it up with a few more militia, and of course he's going to get that men-at-arms upgrade. And with the 200 extra wood, he could actually choose to go for an archer range follow-up too, to provide a lot of pressure as he's also docking on the other side to get fish in. But the mind games of having a land army force so many res out of your opponent in defense. Villese is now making 2 fire galleys. He's making those walls. He's very low on wood count now, so he can afford like 1 more fire galley.
Third militia on the way across the center of the map. We do have that dock up on the right-hand side. No fire galleys in production from Liereyy. So again, just conceding this left side pawn.
So he's just trying to get the fish. He's just going to try and get the fish here.
We've got men-at-arms upgrade coming in as well. Villese still continues to track the progress of these militia. Barracks at home, walls almost complete. Very conservative walling here for Villese towards the TC. It's just going to be a nuisance by sending those sheep away before they return.
And Liereyy is running under his TC, and he dives with the men-at-arms. Well, why not? You just stole the sheep, right? Like, you're taunting him. You're under his TC. You're like, I know you have no villagers here. I'm not scared of your TC at all. He positions the sheep in the TC fire, and the sheep actually dies there as the men-at-arms come in towards the wood line. This is so distracting.
Isn't getting a wall up.
Villese.
Isn't getting a wall up.
Nope.
So all of that wood spent, and you still have villagers that are under threat. He pulls the whole wood line to try and fight it away. Does get a house wall up, but now he's going to turn his attention towards the gold. Okay. Gets those 2 palisades up as well, but this is a lot of chaos caused by just 2 men-at-arms.
Classic Liereyy. Low numbers of military, and Villese's full focus is over on this side. He's got the fishing ship over by the dock in between. I don't know why it's positioned there, but it is.
Yeah,
the demo didn't seem to do much damage from Liereyy.
No.
I didn't see it come in, and this is so nice. Lierey's like, how can I get value? I can't attack the villagers right away. If he wants to get food in a pinch, he might go out for that hunt. I'm just going to lane it.
And through all of this, the eco counts are essentially even because Lierey's just been producing fishing ships on the other side of the map.
As now Villese retreats to that TC, and Lierey's like, I know you still don't have anything in there.
Yeah.
I'm going to try and take as many hits as I can. We've got a scout over here from Villese, and you can see how distracted he was because that scout is indeed idle. It's going to start moving any second now. Villager goes back out towards the wall, and Liereyy is still back here, Dash.
Yeah, this is annoying, but luckily with 1 archer and a spear, he should be able to save it. Still can't get the walls up, though, and Liereyy has another small force working its way across the center of the map. Look at this ring around the rosy.
Ring around the archer there, but the archer does clear up the men-at-arms, and Liereyy is going to have to leave. Liereyy has been fishing on that pond to the right. He's got another demo. I wonder where that demo is as he's coming forward with an archer and 2 skirmishers, and it's just like, if you're Villese, where do you look, right? Do you look at your pond where a potential demo is coming out? Do you look at your scout to try and go over to the other pond to see if Liereyy is fishing? Do you look at the men-at-arms, or do you look at the reinforcements coming in? Yeah. Liereyy is making things so messy, and he's trying to kill this villager. He does snipe that villager. Liereyy now controlling the berries at the front of Villese's base.
Sniped an archer, sniped a villager, pushed villagers off of berries. You see the difficulty that Villese has in terms of where he wants to put those villagers and getting his eco rolling, forced to drop another couple farms at home, a whole bunch of farms at home, in fact.
His food eco is just not there, right? He lost the ability to take the deer at the back because of Liereyy. He lost the berries at the front here. He only had 2 fishing ships early, and I think his villager on the shorefish needed to retreat early too. So it's just like, where are you getting the food for the army that you need? Liereyy has made it so difficult, and I want to snag a look if possible, because we know Lierey's not really going to kill any villagers potentially here, at Lierey's economy at his base. What is it looking like? It's pretty scarce as well, but he is taking the deer on the other side.
Yeah, exactly. So nice to get that hunt in. Does have 18 on food. Wheelbarrow on the way for himself. Ooh, very villagers.
Sneaky. I'm surprised Liereyy hasn't. I guess it's tough for him to invest, but he hasn't gone for a fire galley or a galley or something to prevent this.
Yeah, has the resources for it if he thinks of it, but has a lot of focus on the forward pressure that he's established against Villese's base.
He did lose the dock on the other side, too. So there's no potential for sneaky demos or anything like that. Can't see it in his fog of war. Is going to take out the spearman and is going to work away on these skirmishers. That scout continuing to be super annoying there.
I don't know if I've ever seen someone get so much value in a series from their starting
scout. Yep.
It's huge. Absolutely wild.
And he keeps it alive, and then, of course, because I said he keeps it alive, he keeps it...
It's the way of the caster.
Dead.
We hope we have a lot of power.
No, we
do.
We actually have power to curse things.
Exactly.
Thank you again for another $50 in the prize pool. Prize pool keeps on ticking up here, folks. If you're enjoying the show, make sure you donate. All of donations, 100% go towards the prize pool. As a tower is now attempted to be forced up here from Villese. Liereyy forcing that out with just 5 skirmishers and an archer. Villese getting very nervous about that. Is there a hole back here?
There is.
Liereyy has found a hole.
There was an overchop.
And he's going to be super annoying. Villese won't lose any villagers, but it's going to be so much idle time.
Yeah, it's just 5 skirmishers and an archer, but it has to be respected. Fletching now completing for Villese to try and push this away, but look at the resources, Dave. Well over Castle Age resources for Liereyy. Might just need an extra building to make it happen.
1,000 food here. 1,000 food from Liereyy. He's going to go up to Castle Age, and he'll be feeling pretty comfortable on his food eco, but he is losing the fishing ships on the other side. So in standard Villese fashion, like he's taking all this damage early, but we look at the general economy setup, and it doesn't look bad for him.
Dude, he got forced off of his other wood line as well. Broke through the palisade on that one to create another hole. It's a two-pronged attack from Liereyy on land. I like to call it, though, that the Navy is doing work for Villese on the right side pond, so he's going to have control of both ponds soon. He also brought 2 archers over there to deal with the repair villager that Liereyy would have for a naval battle.
Yeah, and he lost another villager at the front there. It's so hard to keep track of this, but now it's locked down. Now it is locked down. Liereyy is down to 9 military. Vilese's got most of his military on the water, but he's killed those fishing ships, and the archers are searching for that villager. So it's probably a dead Vil there from Liereyy, but this is just so Liereyy. This is so
He's taking a note
Liereyy.
From his opponent. He goes, Villese, that's a great idea. I'll bring 2 archers
he's
over.
going to save this Vil with the skirmishers. Liereyy doing Liereyy things as he hunts down these villagers over here on Vilese's dock, and that's -2 more villagers from Villese. Villese is up to the castle age. Liereyy can stay out of the range of those fires and still take out that villager, I think, as the skirmishers now coming from Villese.
Skirmishers want to save
Relic
him.
blocking the way.
Great
Disgusting.
micro, though, from Liereyy. Gets the 2 Vil snipes. He's going to lose both archers for it, but he'll be happy with that trade. As he finds an errant archer to the south that he'll pick up, no problem. More forces coming forward through the center of the map. Castle Age about to be reached. Plenty of resources in the bank to hit Bodkin and become even more of a threat. Not going to be able to push into that tower, though, on the gold. So a little bit of safety there. Ooh, love that.
Yeah, I was
lot
wondering if Liereyy isn't really the guy to go for that TC first on the middle area, right? He doesn't have huge numbers of archers to upgrade into crossbow, but he's going to go for that siege workshop anyway. He's going to try and take some good early fights and whittle down the skirmisher numbers from Villese, but Villese is thinking the same thing. Let's get rid of those archers before he can upgrade them, and he kills most of the crossbows here from Liereyy. Lierey's at 4 crossbows. Lawler, thank you again for the $250 towards the prize pool. Solid games today indeed. And remember, later on today, we have 2 more sets, and the last set, folks, is Hera versus Viper. So
huge.
It's going to be an absolute banger, and I'm going to be co-casting that one, I believe, with Liereyy, no less. So that should be super, super entertaining stuff. Liereyy still piling on the pressure. Villese, though, decent amount of resources in the bank, is going into the cav armor, and I believe he has a few stables at home. So we'll see if Villese is able to survive long enough in the beginning stages of Castle Age. I like those house walls.
Great house wall. Yep. Great house wall. He's finally got a back safe wood line as a result. We do have that siege workshop and first mangonel out, though, onto the field for Liereyy to start applying the pressure. A monastery as well in the center of the map, looking to steal away those relics from the Lithuanian player before they have an opportunity to get them for themselves. The monastery just going down for Villese as we speak.
All right, TC in the center there. That's going to, on Kawasan, getting that TC in the center just means that you can delay your farms by like another 5 minutes.
Yeah, still doesn't have horse collar because he doesn't need it.
Exactly, and investing the wood into farms makes transition so much more difficult, but Liereyy is going to have an easy time with it. And we look at his resources right now. He's got 500 food in the bank. It's crazy, right? Of course, he's going into a wood-gold composition right now, but the fact you have that amount of food in the bank means that if you want to hit that crazy Imperial Age timing, or if you want to switch into maybe some siege elephants to complement this push, you can.
Liereyy is one of the best players with imp timings in the game. And even though he's going to 3 TCs, like you say, he's not going to need so much food eco to sustain Vil production from those 3. And with control of all the berries in the middle, will likely still have a stellar imp timing and can keep playing with those range units. Pressure now onto Villese's starting TC with a single mangonel. Knights looking for damage, but haven't found it just yet. Hole between the wood line and the blacksmith, though.
This. House wall. Liereyy completely walling off these knights. He can't trap them in. There's still a hole on the other side, but raids like that can completely distract you from what you need to do in this game. So that's perfect defense.
He's so damn good
from Liereyy. He is very good.
So damn good. And there you go. He already knows that those knights have to be rerouting a different way. Gets the house walls up around the wood line towards the 2 TCs. And with how compact those TCs are, he's going to have a lot of safety. Did have to pull a few villagers off of farms near that mill. So a little bit of an idle eco, rather, as 2 knights come in looking for a Vil pick.
TC is there, though. TC is there, so Liereyy should be fine. He does lose have one villager, but that's it. Villese only with the first armor. He doesn't have bloodline, so he can't hang around for too long. Villese has gone for that second town center, but the eco for Liereyy is climbing here. Villese was staying basically in the same range of economy as Liereyy because of the fishing ships early. He's out of fish now. Has killed a few villagers, but Liereyy is a TC ahead, and he's already booming.
Yeah, Eco KD still stronger for Liereyy, and one more TC on the field. Villese just getting pushed up, crunched against the side of the map, right? He doesn't have too much room to breathe while he does have control of both pawns. That could be the saving grace for him in the long run.
It's looking really tough for Villese.
It is.
It's looking really tough. Like, he's got enough resources for a third TC, and we know how much he loves 3 TC booming. Great dodge with the monk there, and he hops in the TC. He's keeping it alive for the time being, and he's got those elite skirms, so Liereyy has to be careful with his crossbows, also has the monks, and the ability to hop in and out of that TC. But Liereyy is still controlling this front side, and it is a third town center on the stone from Villese. He's going to try and stall this out, catch up on eco, maybe go for a defensive castle. Liereyy will be trying to hit that Imperial Age timing, as we always see from him, right?
Gonna look to match the boom. We do have redemption coming in for Villese, so Lierey's gonna have to start to respect that when it comes to bringing those mangonels forward. Did a good job of defending with those elite skirmishers and buying himself a little bit of time and a little bit of space. Still getting raided, though, on those farms is Liereyy by the Knights, and is gonna have to find an answer to that eventually, bringing 2 monks back now to deal with it.
Yeah, those Knights have actually been surprisingly effective. I think that's like 5 villagers we've seen go down, so that's just a constant distraction. He might get another one, but the monks are converting, so he'll need to get out of there quickly. I'm surprised he didn't delete that, getting a little bit fortunate, but redemption is in here for Villese, and he's going to try and convert those mangonels. Liereyy trying to pull him out of position. Villese seeing that a little bit too late with the splits there, and does take some damage, but Liereyy is pushing him back, and Leary's getting fairly aggressive, trying to snipe those monks before the mangonels can get converted. So good job from him to hold this middle position. We also look, Liereyy now has 32 on food. 32 on food. How many of those are on the berries in the center?
We'll
quite
find
a
out
few.
in this moment.
It's quite
15
a few.
of them.
Yeah, really taking advantage of the map control.
Horse collar finally clicked for him, so again,
the knight is back.
Eventually he'll have to transition into more farms. Monks push that knight away once again. We've got Fervor and Wheelbarrow coming in for Villese. He's trailing by 15 in the villager count currently, but with the third TC up, he's going to start matching the production of those vills. 3 monks, a pack of skirms, and 1 knight in defense. Liereyy, though, not feeling like he needs to put that much pressure on at the moment.
Him shortly. Yeah. And he's gone to stone, so he's thinking castle, right? Potentially. Liereyy is going to be in a perfect position here. He also can grab some of the relics. He's only got the one in the middle so far, but we know where the other relics are on the lakes. I think Villese actually has Navy positioned beside the relics so that he can't easily... Look at that. Yep. Fire galleys up there, right? And then we look on the left side pond, and he's got some fire galleys patrolling over there, so maybe he can snipe those down. Knights are back again, and there's another villager dead from Liereyy. These are so annoying at the back here.
Yeah, amazing control of the Knights to constantly apply pressure to the eco of Liereyy. He's now finally moving in here on the hill in the middle, even forcing a tower up from Liereyy to defend the berries, and another archery range being dropped. Imperial Age finally clicked here for Liereyy. A great timing from him. And we'll give him a tech advantage once he gets there, get him into his classically loved Arbalest with Bracer.
So he's not going to go for the castle into Trebs as he gets the mangonel converted. Fortunately, he was really close with the crossbows there. I think he'll take losing a monk if a mangonel gets converted right next to 16 crossbows. But Liereyy is going for towers instead in the center here, and that's kind of trying to push away those monks. He'll be a little bit away from affording a castle, and now guard tower even coming in. So he's going to supplement his push with those towers. Another mangonel will get converted unless he snipes the monk, which he does just on time. And the skirmishers are going down. Lierey's going to dive against these. Monks are on the run there from Villese, and Ballistics even coming in for Liereyy, going to make this even easier to clear up. Liereyy will hit this sick Imperial Age timing right as Villese is also thinking about going up to the next stage.
Yeah, still 400 foot away himself. Does have the stone for a castle in defense. So while we talked about Liereyy opting for the guard towers, Villese might have a little bit of a of power packed into
It's
a
so
castle
tough,
punch,
though.
but man, his monks get hunted here, his skirmishers
Yeah.
get pushed away. He's only got 4 elite skirms, and when you know your opponent is immediately going for Arbalest in the Imperial Age, that's a tough number to be relying on.
Well, I think you see the name Liereyy and you just know exactly what's going to happen, right? He's always up to imp first. If
Yep.
he is playing on his game, it feels like he's always hitting those timings, whether it's Castle Age, Imperial Age. It's so surprising, right? And he's really used this map, the berries that he took control over, going for a safer castle
Very
kind of on
conservative
this
castle.
hill. But I think that kind of works, right? And I was wondering if he was going to fully invest in the guard towers. I guess he wasn't. He got the tech for 1. And now he's going for the castle because he realizes he needs trebs. Villese also going for a defensive castle of his own. And he's just going to try and weather the storm until he can push back out again. If he does get onto skirmishers with the tower shields tech, can be really dangerous against Dravidians because you're looking at Dravidian's tech tree. You're like, you can't go cavalry.
Exactly. Yeah, you have very few options out of the stable, but Bracer chemistry on the way, a Treb in production. As soon as chemistry completes, you imagine a Bombard will follow as well. More Knights in the back of the eco.
Like, I am so frustrated for Liereyy with these Knights, but now they're finally dead, and Liereyy can breathe a sigh of release. Or release, whatever.
Or release,
He's feeling it is definitely a release as
you feel that,
as you
yeah,
kill those Knights at the back there. The bandits finally dead, and he is getting chemistry now. He's looking for that timing. Trebuchet on the field. One more Treb in the queue.
Working away on this tower that's protecting the main gold. We still have the monks here with redemption, so you have to be careful not to lose the mangonel, and he gets the snipe on the monk before the conversion goes through. This tower not long for the world. I think that's the MTC.
That's the MTC, but he's not targeting it immediately. He's like, this tower is a problem. That archer range is a bigger problem, and I need to take that out first.
Yeah, 25 seconds till Villese reaches the next age. He has ballistics on the way for himself. That'll help for the elite skirmishers, whittling down the crossbow numbers. Elite skirmisher tech for Liereyy even at this point, as well as another armor archer upgrade, so almost fully upgraded.
I think tower shields can be really dangerous. Like, it's plus 10 pierce armor, right, with tower shields on the skirmishers, and Lierey's going to have to deal with that. We see block printing coming in to deal with the potential siege from Liereyy, as Villese is trying everything in his tech tree to try and defend against this. And Liereyy dives under that TC for like the 7th time this game. He is not threatened by that thing at all, and now he's just going to kill it and get into the farming eco from Villese. Villese coming back there with the skirmishers to clear that up, and Liereyy is going to toss away this Arbalest army, but I mean, he's right in the center of everything.
Yeah, he got a lot of damage done there. He forces 15 villagers to run out to the left-hand side, try to replace another TC. He's completely split Villese's base down the middle at this point. We'll see what the response is here for the Lithuanian player, though, as it currently is just elite skirms.
I'm very surprised.
Chemistry on the way.
I'm very surprised by that castle position from Liereyy. He feels like Villese might have a better eco or might be making a tech switch into cavalry or something. That's like a castle that's, I'm going to get raided soon. I don't really know what's happening. I've only seen 10 skirms and some monks, and I need to start protecting myself right now. So Liereyy maybe not fully reading the game state exactly as we can see it.
You know what I imagine it might be? He might think that Villese has more presence on water, like more food eco as a result of the pond control.
We look at his fog of war. Like, he can't see the left side at all. He doesn't know what's in that back corner. He doesn't know that he's cutting Villese's base, like cutting off all the farm eco on this side, and Villese only has 22 on farms currently.
I'm with it. But again, he's thinking about, how do I lose this game,
exactly.
right?
And that's a perfect approach. That's a perfect approach as we see this wonderful micro. Kind of reminiscent of Jordan yesterday against Vinchester. I know Vinchester came out of that series, and he looked at Jordan. He's like, what was that, bro? Like, I didn't even hit a single shot.
Yeah, Jordan found a new gear just yesterday, but here we go. Skirmishers now finally forward for Liereyy to aid the Arbalest against the pure skirmisher army from his opponent in Villese. Still one more armor upgrade to be completed here for the ranged units of our player in red. Bombard cannon in production for Liereyy as well. He's got to get those trebs forward to make more progress, but so far the game is well within his control.
Redemption and block printing is in, so going for bombard cannon's a little bit of a risk, and Liereyy knows that it's in, right? But there's now a bombard cannon from Villese, and that's going to come forward. Liereyy will see that with the Arbalest. He's going to push for that. He's going to micro around that castle fire. Can't go too far forward, though. Villese's got the repair villagers ready, and Liereyy is now working away on that castle. Villese is still at 93 villagers somehow,
Yeah,
but it feels
alive.
kind of inevitable at this point, doesn't it?
Oh, it definitely does. I mean, you still have a 40 eco lead, plus you're double the military units currently, and you're the one with more siege. But he does get pushed back for just a moment. So once again, breathing room, and you have to imagine if all the techs come in for the Lithuanian player, it gets incredibly difficult for the Dravidians to close it out.
Why have the relics not been taken here from Liereyy is my question. I mean, he's had that position for so long. I guess he's super distracted, right, and he's doing all the other things at the same time as he has the most annoying Arbalest of 2023 over on the left side of Villese's base. He's got him on stand ground. Castle is being trepped down. He's looking for an opportunity to take out that bombard cannon in the center. And Liereyy is just everywhere here. Villese can't get above 92 villagers, it seems.
Yeah, it's the final fortification here for Villese, this castle, and he knows it. So he's throwing plenty of villagers and tons of stone into repairs. He does have 1,300 in the bank, so can maybe hold the position for a bit. But 3 trebs, a lot of damage, plus a bombard cannon. No military really in response.
Castle's
looking
down
to snipe a treb.
Yep.
Castle's down, and that's the GG moment.
GG. Well played from Liereyy. Really, really good approach there. Like, he was later up to the feudal age, same pawn, same area of Villese, and he knew he can contest water, so what did he do? He came in with the men-at-arms and the scout right under the TC because he realized there's no villagers there. Villese is in panic mode for literally, like, the first 5 minutes of feudal age.
It was
all the way until he clicked up to castle. It was just panic mode. Liereyy gets away with fishing on the right, and Villese can never recover.
Yeah, brilliant adaptive play, right? Again, don't invest any more resources into that left side pond. Go get some extra food on the right. Like you say, transition into land military. Again, that starting scout.
Yeah.
Did so much work preventing walls from going up, buying time for the men-at-arms to get in, and then getting his villagers out to the center, making use of the berries and the food income there to get his faster Imperial Age, as he always does, and then into his favorite unit, the Arbalest, and it's an easy win from there. He glides to victory, a 2-1 lead in the set, and now only needs to win one of the next 2 to take it.
And it makes things very difficult for Villese here, because even if you win your home map, Outcrop, you're going on to a map that suits Lierey's style so well, right? Morass. It is an all-out aggression style of map. Villese is not the all-out aggression style player. He can do it, but that's not where he thrives. And that is exactly where Liereyy thrives. And Morass is not really a map where you can ignore the fish in the middle. You just can't. There's so much food there for your opponent to take and put into production or a faster castle each time.
And it's not even like Outcrop that's terrifying. You know, like Liereyy had an incredible game against Jordan. Like one of the games of the tournament for me so far.
Yep, and Liereyy will probably go for something like Saracens here.
I think it will absolutely go Saracens.
And try and go for a faster castle age time. And if I know Villese, he'll probably go for something like Hindustanis and try and just be a little bit more passive, boom up, get the 3 TCs rolling, right, as he's known for.
Yeah, and we've already seen, again, Liereyy was able to outplay Hindustanis, imp camels, with heavy camels of his own plus a ranged unit. So Saracens have the option of either going into, you know, crossbows, arbalests themselves, or if they're really lucky and can get to Mamelukes later in mass, they'll absolutely shred camels as well, as long as you're focused on the micro.
Yeah, you got to have
the
them
micro. And you don't have pass-through damage. It's not as easy.
Yeah, the thing about Mamelukes against camels is the camels are like the click unit. You patrol them in.
Exactly.
The Mamelukes are like, you got to keep your eye on them, right? So it's very, very difficult if you get yourself a good
Well, it is
area.
the
You
matchup
can
we'll
take
get,
the fight,
though.
but we are going to see Hindustanis against Saracens, and I'm expecting Liereyy to play into the crossbow play, maybe with some early archer aggression potentially. I don't know if he's going to opt for just the straight fast castle and really utilize that market. We will see. On the other side, we have Villese playing as the Hindustanis, and he just might try and survive the early pressure and then boom up behind because he's got a lot of options. Hindustani should be favored against Saracens if you're heading to the mid-game or early Imperial Age especially. So we'll see what Liereyy can do here. Don't think he's going to be too nervous about this Civ matchup or this home map, but he's definitely statistically not favored here.
Yeah, Villese opting to push in deer early, whereas Liereyy went immediately to the outsides, found himself 2 extra cows. So that's going to be nice a little bit later for the food eco. And Villese going pretty far out to start establishing walls.
Yep.
He's already thinking about how he wants to full wall his base, make sure he gains some space and secures a little bit of gold before he has to go to the outside wings for it. Second boar about to come in.
All right, Villese going for the big walls. That's a risk against Saracens. They can punch through those walls pretty quickly, so he's going to get very aggressive. Sorry, I was going to say Villese, aggressive, aggressive.
Yeah.
We're mixing words here. We're mixing words here.
Barracks. So it will be aggression out of Villese.
Yeah.
At
Early
17
barracks.
Pop currently, exactly.
Early barracks from the
So
Hindustani.
what an early loom click from Liereyy. So trying to get up as quickly as possible.
And Liereyy going up on 18 population. Villese will be going for the drush into walls, potentially. And there we go. There's the first militia right there. How many militia does he make? Likely 2.
So is it instead scouts for Liereyy? Feels almost too early for archers, right?
No, you can get away with some filthy things with Saracens.
Okay.
So we'll see what he...
yeah, good point.
Yeah, we'll see what he attempts to go for. Also, it's important to note that you can grab those cows on the outside. So you can be later to farms and you have just this constant food supply, right? And he brought in 3 of those cows early.
Right.
I wonder how many he actually has under his TC. I think there's 8 on each side of this outcrop, and he's got plenty of herbables left over. So you can really, especially when he pushes in all 3 ibex like that immediately, you can super streamline your eco if you want to go for that fast production. He's already building the barracks forward. As the militia come out here from Villese, there's no question as to where your opponent's base is. You can just send them right in a straight line. As soon as you're on that rocky terrain, you know you've gone too far, and Villese might even find these villagers building this early. He might be able to deny it. It's going to be close. He runs the scout right through there. Liereyy will see this coming. Liereyy will go for a gate, and he's going to trap the scout in, and it's a 1v1 battle. Hello, how are you? Says Liereyy, who already has loom, and he will take out that scout. Great quick walling job from Liereyy.
What a gross play. Kills the scout, guarantees that the barrack goes up undisturbed. Yes, it's delayed by just a moment, so it's not up right when he hits the feudal age, but you will take that trade any day of the week.
And there are the militia not giving much value, right? Like, if anything, they took away value because the scout had to come back towards the front to scout for those militia, and that's how it got trapped. So Liereyy with a really great response there. He gets to the feudal age, and
Stealing some cows?
Again.
Dude, his starting scout in this series is the MVP. That is absolutely nuts. Absolutely nuts that he gets away with that. Kills 2 cows as a result after killing his opponent's scout. Now a stable going up at home. And all that he really lost here was a little wood for that gate, and 2 of his vills got forced off of berries.
Yep, and that's the second straight game where he's baited the herdables back into the line of fire that's shooting at his scout. So great job from Liereyy, finding value where he can, and he does open stable. Okay, here we go.
Just gross. Stable up now. Here comes a second scout and a spearman in production. Just getting a couple military units out onto the field, but no issue dealing with those militia just yet. 20 seconds away from the feudal age is Villese. We'll see what his follow-up is.
No nervousness about that drush anymore. Lierey's done enough. He even deletes the gate. He's going to have scouts moving forward. He even has a spearman here. And Villese, I mean, he gets to the feudal age, but he's going to have to invest into army here. He's not in a position where he can just kind of sit back, right? He barely even has the walls up on the side. He's wide open, and he's going for an archer range.
Not full walled at all, yeah. Vill's on gold, so the archery range comes up. Spears as well, because he knows that the scouts are on the way. But he has to predict which side they're going to come in through. So here we go. Liereyy has scouted out the hunting vills, and he's going to wait for a second scout to arrive to look for a vill pick.
Yep, finally clears up that drush, and he's found
Weak
those
vill.
hunting vills, like you said. He goes immediately for the weak one. It's only 2 scouts here, but I feel like he can snipe that.
Dude, this guy is just too good.
Yep.
He's just too good at Age of Empires, my goodness. 2 scouts, finds a vill pick, has the vill lead himself already. And now more scouts rolling forward. A completely open base from Villese. And after you've spent so much time walling one side of your base, okay, Spear will at least get to push these scouts away. You're going to have to go for small walls around your wood lines, though.
But he's not doing it. He just has Spearman protecting him, and Liereyy is going to dodge right around that Spearman. He doesn't have enough HP to fully commit against the villagers, but there comes another scout. Maybe pull these out of position, then come in from the other side. Villese's got an archer already. He's starting on the walls, but it's been tough for him so far, and it's another
that villager is misplaced. Will she get the house wall down? Very well done. Scouts get rerouted towards the TC, so they have to think better of it. So adapting well with the walls to force the units towards the TC for some safety, and has stopped the bleeding with only 1 villager death so far. Some more farms being dropped here for our Hindustani player.
It's actually a really good response from Villese so far, considering how open he was.
Spears out of position.
A little bit.
Spears out of position. We come towards the wood line. Do we get the walls up? No, we don't. The palisades don't come through. And one more Vill under threat. Will he get the last doink? No, he won't. Villese, a nice save.
I think you can't commit to that if you're Liereyy. I think that's a good decision there because there could be a situation where you just run into the Spearman. You run into everything. Liereyy baits that Spearman into attacking the full HP scout and then collapses on it with the rest of his. Villese with the quick walls there, doing a good job, chasing with another Spearman. And 3 of those scouts are extremely near death.
Yeah, 5 scouts, though, still at his disposal. More houses go up. Okay, the walls are almost complete here for Villese. So, again, really well done to make sure that he doesn't lose too much too early. 31 Vills for Liereyy, 30 for Villese. Fletching on its way in for Liereyy. He's got skirms out onto the field and maybe some archers behind that.
And I see the market coming up now as he loses those scouts against the archer. The HP really coming into play there, the weakening from those spearmen early. I see the market coming up, so maybe we're going to see a transition attempt here from Liereyy. He still has a stone to sell, he still has some wood to sell, and he can buy his way up, having to pay less with the Saracens, but Villese's on the counterattack.
I was going to say, looking up towards the left-hand side of Lierey's base, we have a couple of Hindustani units making their way around the incomplete walls. It's 2 archers and a spear, but boom, just like that, the skirmishers are there. Great job from Liereyy to respond, force this away, even gets 2 picks, if not all 3, if he continues this chase.
Yeah, good defense from Liereyy. I wonder if he has like Town Watch. How did he spot this so early? Did he see it with the scouts earlier? I wonder, but it's good recognition to know that Villese was on the counterattack. Villese now coming in from the north side, and Liereyy with more units there. Surprise, surprise, as Villese continues to try and find more cows because he doesn't have the ones that Liereyy lamed from earlier.
Yeah, look at that. The scouts will target the archers and the skirms target the spear. Okay, a number of the scouts do get cleared up, but once again, the pressure is completely stopped in its track. Another archery range going down for Liereyy, and Villese actually being the one to heavily abuse the castle or the market for a castle.
He dies. The spearman dies on the right side, and there's another spearman being attacked on the left. Villese, even the wildlife is against him. Maybe losing 2 units scouting for cows.
Yeah, look at this guy's got it out for Villese at the moment. Snow leopards chasing down spears left and right.
Resources.
But again, yeah, already clicked up for Villese. Liereyy not too far behind, able to get it just now and almost complete with his walls. He was able to effectively wall all the way to the edges of the map. He's bought himself a lot of real estate as long as he can defend those walls.
It's a great response from Villese so far. Like, so many things went wrong for him. The cows, right? The villager he lost on the hunt. Now the spearmen even being killed by random wild animals. The fact his map was so wide open on Outcrop, but he's still up faster than the Saracens, which is not something you say all that often.
Yeah, it's essentially a dead-even game. So a fantastic recovery from him, although he does lose a few more military units here on the front. And that might be the issue for him. It's always that Liereyy does such a great job of holding on to numbers.
And I wonder what Liereyy opens up with here. Is it the crossbow play? Because you have skirmishers on the field here from Villese. You see that stable right there.
He still produced 4 archers in the queue, so it's got to be.
I'm just wondering if he mixes something in. Does he go for some camels in front of his own? Does he go for some monks of his own? You're not really looking to expand with the Saracens. You're looking to pile on that pressure. So I just wonder if he's going to tech switch into something else to accompany those crossbows.
Yeah, both players sold stone, and Lierey's definitely aware of it because he was the second one to use the market, and so should have seen those prices. Here we go, Castle Age in for Villese, and has a good timing to find this military. Doesn't have Bodkin just yet. Spears will clear up the scout, and now it's a skirm v skirm battle, and a monastery dropped for himself.
Yep, and I don't see any additional units here from Liereyy. I don't see any additional buildings. Like, his resources are looking fantastic here, but he didn't add a stable on the way up. Maybe he'll choose to add a monastery of his own now, or maybe a siege workshop. He's sending more archers forward, getting crossbow and bodkin, but no villagers on the way. Interesting.
Don't know what else. Yeah, don't know what else he'll use. Oh, he bought stone. There it is. So he wants to expand out to a TC on the right-hand side, already with a couple villagers over there. So I think that's good timing because Villese's got no military units there to respond.
Remember, Saracen Archers, guys, doing more damage against walls, so he's going to try and break through pretty quickly. And that Palisade wall with 0 HP now as Vodka shifts our focus over there. The house also going down, but the skirmishers are there from Villese, already elite skirm. He's got to protect this area because that's where his gold is.
No armor on the skirms, though. So Liereyy might be willing to take this. Just crossbows against skirms straight up. He snipes the monk and is still microing through. And all of these villagers are in a very, very precarious position if enough of these elite skirmishers go down. The dance has begun. The micro battle to win it all possibly here for Liereyy. Just needs one more map in this set, and he forces the villagers back. Low health villagers and skirms. Villese doesn't have the numbers just yet to compete. We also have another camel coming forward from Liereyy to help aid in the aggression.
This is good control from Liereyy, right? It's similar to what we've seen in the other games. Remember game 1, where he was just sitting in Villese's base, and we were thinking, like, Villese has a similar army, but Liereyy is just using his control. There goes one villager, 2 villagers. There's another weak one that I guarantee you Liereyy sees as he snipes a third, and he's got crossbows against their counter unit, and he's just hanging out here. He doesn't care because the armor wasn't in on time from Villese. He gets the first one. He's getting the second one now, so Liereyy will back up. But he's done the damage, and now he's ahead on villager count. He has the second TC earlier. Lierey's in a fantastic position.
Yeah, it's just a beautiful little advantage he's gained for himself. Just enough damage, and recognizes that he's got enough to now retreat, find himself a siege workshop placement in the middle of the map. That's going to mean that Villese needs a response because skirmishers won't be enough to deal with the pressure of a mangonel. Monk again looking for a conversion, just tracking these crossbows, and Liereyy will back up, conserving his numbers yet again.
Yeah, and it's so tough to fight against the skirms with +2. You can't do it without siege or without cavalry. And in addition to the +2, Villese can like heal up the skirmishers behind, right? So all the damage, you're doing 1 damage with the crossbows, and then just doink, you just heal it right back up again as he's doing. So Lierey's going to have to wait for the siege to come in to accompany the crossbows. But then again, there is a camel there to potentially come in and snipe that siege. Yeah, so it's going to be a delicate dance.
Exactly.
Right?
One conversion did come through, but Liereyy held the position long enough to make sure that the siege workshop would go up before Villese saw it. Now the elite skirmishers push forward, but they have to respect the timing of the mangonel coming out, and so with that, he will retreat back to the safety of his own walls. I believe he also has a siege workshop of his own in response going up at the front of his base.
Has he seen the gold? I don't believe he's seen the gold from Villese. That would be very...
Neither player has scouted their right-hand presence.
Hasn't seen the TC. He hasn't seen the gold or the stone. He's going to find an opening with the camels.
And actually, these get in, and you only have 1 TC here to support this entire eco. It could get kind of ugly.
It is already kind of ugly. These remind me of the 2 knights from Villese last game, which Liereyy had a headache with and couldn't
It does
kill.
take an average of 57 hits for a camel to kill a villager, but he still manages to pick 1. We'll let the second one escape. And even still, it's just going to be a little bit of chaos and attention pulled by Liereyy. But here we go. The mangonel micro has begun between 2 players. And this is probably the most important part of the map at this moment.
Yep, and Villese needs to be very careful with his mangonel. He doesn't really care if he takes the odd hit on his skirmishers, but like that. But his mangonel, he can't afford to lose this because then Liereyy can just turn around and push all of this back. That was an excellent shot from Villese. He dodges the shot from Liereyy, and he gets it.
That is huge. Even uphill, he lands 2 shots to get that mangonel, forcing these crossbows all the way back. He may even push Liereyy into seeing that TC drop. No, he doesn't. Barely skirts around it. So will he track Liereyy all the way back to his own TC is the question, or no, he'll reroute the pressure towards Lierey's base.
Ooh, Liereyy might try and sneak around here. Liereyy might try and be clever and run right into this TC here, Dash. It's going to be so...
There's only 5 villagers building it.
No!
He's patrolling because he doesn't know where Villese's forces are, and Villese even respects it by pulling his villagers away for a moment there just to make sure he doesn't get sniped. And now the skirmishers have a line of sight on those crossbows, and he's aware of Lierey's satellite village.
He might find it again because he's trying to avoid these skirmishers so hard. They're like dancing here. Villese's like, please,
What's the percentage on that TC? What's the percentage?
It'll go up. It'll go up.
Okay, it went up.
But he can even take it down with these crossbows if he avoids those skirmishers. And he's going to be starting to fire on that. You can see the HP going down quite quickly. But now he has to respect the fact the skirmishers might be here. And Villese is trying to take a really good angle on Lierey's army. Liereyy is kind of trapping himself back there, and there's a mangonel coming.
Yeah, looking to corner him. here against this wood line, though. Liereyy looks like he might just get away with it. And look at that, we got some light cav out onto the field, and that's going to make quick work of the reinforcements for the skirmishers. And now he's taking the fight straight up, crossbows v skirm numbers. But when you outnumber 2-1, it's actually not that bad a fight to take. You just have to avoid getting hit by an errant mangonel shot, and just in time, he pulls his crossbows back. I stopped talking for a moment because I was like, of course I'm going to do it to him.
Dude, of course. As the light cav come in, they're going to be able to snipe the monks. Can they hop in? They do hop in the TC, but then the mangonel is going to go down. The skirmishers are going to be pushed back. Villese has 300 stone in the bank. It's not enough to drop a castle on that town center, and he doesn't have enough resources to sell, even though that town center is kind of a target right now, so might be thinking about that. Liereyy goes for his 3rd TC finally. Villese has been on 3 TCs for a while, and we can see the villager count already starting to even out here a little bit. Villese is catching up.
Yeah, used that Saracen market to get the 100 stone, to get that 3rd TC up, protecting his mangonel from a snipe against that camel. He's got plenty of upgrades coming in, though. Wheelbarrow, he's got chain barding, bloodlines now for our Saracen player. So flooding the map with some light cav to deal with both the monks and the skirms. House walls coming up for Villese as he tries to secure more real estate for his main base.
This is so difficult for Villese because Liereyy doesn't have to worry about his economy being potentially hit, right? Villese has everything at home in defense, and Liereyy can just focus full on positioning. And also Villese with these skirms has to worry about running into a mangonel shot like this. Ooh. Tons of damage.
Yeah, and it's 2 mangonels at that. Tried to split away, but to no avail. Plenty of skirmishers go down. Now 3 mangonels on the front. I mean, we've been on this half of the map for the last 15 minutes.
And Villese knows it, right? He's going into counter units, but it's a full gold composition here for Liereyy, except for those few light cav, which are there to snipe the monks from Villese. And Liereyy is pushing in. He's going to be able to snipe this mangonel, and he still has a bunch of crossbows left over, still has 3 mangonels of his own. He's pushing in. Villese has enough stone for a castle, but where's that castle going to go? Is it going to go on the TC from Liereyy, or does he need it at home in defense? He needs it at home.
Yeah, an ultra-defensive castle, but a wise castle at that. Market's already gone down. Stable's already gone down. Soon the monastery and the TC under fire. Liereyy unaware of that castle positioning for now. And so won't be able to make too much more progress if he tries to push through that farming eco. We've got stone mining, we've got forging, we've got squires coming in for the Hindustani player.
So it looks like he's going to...
No, is the option.
It's definitely Ghoulam's. The problem with Ghoulam is that Liereyy already has like text to deal with that. He's already got the +2 armor. He's already got bloodlines. He can even mix in Saracen Knights.
Yeah.
I know they don't get Cavalier, but it could be a really good option against Ghoulam. And right now, other than the monks and like 3 camels, Villese has nothing to deal with cavalry, and the crossbows can deal with the camels if you pull the Ghoulam's in.
Yeah, Lierey's completely opened the position here on the front of Villese's base. 3 mangonels working away on that main TC. 2nd armor, though, coming in for the Ghoulam's. And if he can get to a big enough mass, maybe he can make a difference in an all-in engagement, but it's going to be tough.
It's like, first you have to avoid the attack rounds, right?
Yep.
Then you have to surround the crossbows. Then you have to hope your opponent doesn't have any like light cav or knights in front of those crossbows. And you have to have like 20 Ghoulam's to boot. So here come the Ghoulam's right now. Liereyy is running away, and first step, he didn't do the first step. He didn't avoid the attack ground, so back he goes. And GG comes in from Villese. Liereyy taking that set quite convincingly. And Villese unable to continue his good performances here at NAC 4. Liereyy going to be on the winner couch once again.
Yeah, what a showing from Liereyy, and what a recovery after a tough loss to Hera just yesterday. We talked about it at the beginning of this set, though. Historically has gotten the better of Villese and continues that trend here today. And really, from game to game to game, it was a similar story in all of his victories. Is keeping those ranged unit numbers very high, and then amazing imp timings. Like, he had clicked imp right when the game ended there. He was already, even if Villese had found a way to snipe those 3 mangonels and extend the game, the imp timing was going to be overwhelming anyway in the end.
We think about it like Arabia, low numbers of units, value, right? Kawasan, low numbers of units, value. Hippo Arena, Khmer. Villese with
The
an
attempt
excellent.
was there.
I think we have to credit Villese with an excellent defense.
He
there,
really
right?
did have one.
On
Yeah.
Hippo Arena. It seemed like Liereyy had nothing that he could do in that situation. And then the last game, I mean, we just saw it. Same numbers of military against the counter unit. He's inside of his base. He's killing villagers. He's getting things done. Anyway, we've got Liereyy on the
Beautifully
couch.
done. I'll
Dash,
head over.
You want to go have a conversation with
Yeah, you're
him?
casting next series as well, right?
I am
or
casting
end of
the
day?
final series with none
this
other
man. All right, yeah. So I'll
than
go interview
Liereyy.
our winner.
Glad he's happy here with a win. It would be a different atmosphere if he had lost today, potentially. Anyway, we're going to shift on over there. Dash, having a conversation with our winner here, Liereyy. Dash, take it away.
Thank you very much, Dave. Liereyy, 3-1 victory. Nice recovery from yesterday. Not going to ask you how you feel because I imagine it's good. But I do want to start working through the games one at a time because it felt like in all three of your winning games, they are fairly similar approaches. Particularly in map number 1, it was all about a single position on the map. That hill around Villese's farms you just controlled with so much ease.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of saw that matchup coming, but it was still rough, especially when he went forward on me, like I think with camels and stuff.
Right,
and
were you
skirms.
surprised with that much
I
camel
was
production
actually,
in Feudal?
I think he made like 2 or 3, at least 2 or 3 I saw. And then he was just pressuring me, and I had to make a tower, so it was kind of unexpected. Well played by him. But tower, and that was fine, and then that, well, that hill was pretty
This is
nasty.
what I'm talking about, man. Like there were like
I
3
see.
fights on this hill. Every single one you came out on top. But I mean, the call out on the Feudal Age scouts is huge because while it did force a lot out of you in response, it delayed his Castle Age timing to such a degree that
Yeah, I can
you kind
imagine.
of got this control.
Yeah, they are super expensive. I think they're like a regular camel, and you know it's kind of like very heavy investment in Feudal Age, and it didn't pay off that much. He forced me to make a tower, but I was just like want to see it, so all good.
Yeah, with ease there. Okay, Khmer, you just wanted to see if the
Yeah.
TaToH strategy worked, or
Apparently it does not.
well, to be honest though, he went into a big boom into 3 stable light cav. You decided to go straight for the ranged units and then the forward
I
castle.
guess my plan wasn't the best, admittedly. I mean, I thought it was pretty good in theory, but then how it played out, it was just not that good in theory.
Yeah.
Not that good in practice. So, I mean, he had an incredible defense, so props to him. And I found out those Pommer cannons, Hoofknees, are so tanky, actually.
I was gonna say
They
You know,
don't
like,
die.
I think you only killed 2 out of all of these.
Yeah.
With about 10 Hussar, and so yeah, real difficulty taking that. Once you lose the forward position, it all feels
here
lost.
it's over. I mean, the longer away, the worse it gets as well, right? So, but doesn't look too good. I already felt the name, but it's over.
So no more Khmer ever again.
Not on that map. Maybe.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, this is a tough one. It felt like an all-in play. Just couldn't get there. This time around, I mean, the quick walls on this was amazing. But I actually want to talk to you about the pawns because it was very clear that you adapted early in giving up the left side pawn and just moving to the other side. Do you feel like that really was your advantage, being willing to sacrifice the investment you already made?
Yeah, my dark edge wasn't the cleanest. I adapted to go man at arms, wasn't the plan, but we were on the same lakes, and obviously Lithuanians have 150 foot extra, so if I just go for water, I just die. So I had to do something else, and it worked out.
Yeah, this was another position, though, where I feel like you got so much done with that starting scout. I mean, along with the militia and the men-at-arms, of course, but you delayed walls, you found
I
holes
even
in
killed
wood
2 sheep or
lines.
something, I believe, and then killed his deer.
You
So
did that in 2 games. Yeah, this game and the next
The last game was
stole a
pretty-
sheep and killed him.
I'm not sure how much impact that had, but I imagine it was pretty annoying for him.
No, I think it was larger impact.
Yeah, it does hurt. Also, those were cows, so 150 foot.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and as well, when you have control of the center here, right? Like, you didn't have to transition onto farming eco until much later.
Yeah.
Your timing for Imperial Age every single time was well ahead. Yeah, in this one, I think it was a lot of just the fact that you always reach Imp, Arbalest with double-digit numbers when your opponent is, a minute or 2 behind you. Do you feel like you're the best timing player in the game?
It's hard to say. I mean, timing. It also depends on the save and the map or the strategy, right? There's so many factors that comes into it. I just like my style. I like my archers and my timing, so that's for other people to judge.
All right, fair enough. Well, then I'll call you the best timing player in the game. Consider me the judge, or at least in this moment. Yeah, this one again, so many of them, once you had the lead, felt like they were fairly easy for you to close. Spreading out your Arbalists, making sure you get them down. Oh, there was a small moment earlier in the game, right side pond. Villese looped 2 archers around to
Yeah.
attack, and then you did the same thing.
Yeah, I saw his dog. Well, so I thought like he had a villager there at least, and then I already saw the fire ships coming out. I should have explored that, but yeah, I kind of gave up the bond unnecessarily.
It was just
And
one of
then
those
it was
funny
just a mirror
moments
play.
where like I was like, oh, he sees his opponent do something. He's like, oh, that's a good idea. I'll do that too.
Well, let me try that as well, actually.
Exactly.
out.
So here you go, pushing down his last fortification in the castle. That's the GG moment there. From here we go to Outcrop. Hindustanis, obviously a super powerful civ on this map. You go for the Saracens. What is this, man? What is this?
That's a lot of wood investment, let me tell you that. I wanted to make a range or a stable after that. I had to wait for like 1 minute. So
worth it or not?
it was still worth it, obviously, but it cost me a lot as well.
There it is. There it is. 300 food down the drain, just
I think
like
then
that.
he was out of sheep, right? From what I see.
That's what I'm talking about, man. Your starting scout, I feel like, was the MVP in every single.
It did have some value for sure. It also helps if you trap your opponent's scout, right?
Yeah.
It's just like a free unit.
This kind of gave me inklings of game 1, where again you found like one position in your opponent's base, and with crossbows you controlled so much of it. A few villager kills here, getting yourself a nice eco lead. Let's see what else. Oh, 3. Yeah, let's see here. Oh yeah, I mean, did you know? Did you even see that castle?
Yeah, I saw the castle. I
Okay.
didn't see it go up, but I saw once it was built, so it was already finished. So I was
Gotcha.
like, okay, Gulam's gonna come out eventually. And I fell back, and then he just ran at me. I guess it was his last attempt, so fair enough. But,
Target fire to close it out. So how do you feel about this as a rebound after the loss yesterday? I mean, again, it was a really tight series yesterday, and you're still in amazing position overall in the tournament. But
yeah, I mean, I can't complain. 3-1, you know, I have pretty sick buchos as well. Let's see who my last opponent's gonna be, but it's all in my hands. If I go 4-1, if I win my last set tomorrow, I'm guaranteed in semifinals. And yeah, feeling good.
I was going to say, 3-1, you're already through to the bracket stage without a doubt. Now it's just about fighting for seeding, as you can see there, currently occupying the
Go Hera.
slot. Yeah, and a very solid vocal score as a result of Hera being one of your opponents. We have 2 more series to close out the day. Maybe we can go ahead and flip to the remaining schedule to get Lierey's thoughts. I know you'll be casting the final set of the day, which is Hera versus TheViper. But let's talk about TaToH versus Yo first.
I feel like those 2 players can go either way. Like from 3-0 to TaToH, from 3-0 to Yo, it can be anything, honestly. Like those 2 players are so crazy. And they have so many strategies as well, right? They're completely different, unique players. So it's like 2 styles clashing against each other, and small things will matter, I feel.
To that end, when it comes to strategy, like, do you feel as a player that you're getting pushed by the structure of the tournament with, again, continued bans? We see players, like we saw our first look at Malians today, for example. Like,
I think Malay was picked first as well.
Malay was
if
also
I'm not
picked as well.
wrong.
Jordan played that on
Yeah.
Golden Lakes. Like, do you feel like as a player that this tournament is forcing you to become more strategically diverse?
Kind of, yes, but then again, I played 3 times the same strategy, or like one the same way my set
Crossbows,
so far.
camels,
So
crossbows,
yeah, I can't complain. So you know, it goes both ways. It's obviously good to know every strategy and how to play it perfectly. But obviously, there are some strats I know better, some I know worse, and it's the case for every player.
Just yesterday, when T90 and I were casting your series versus Hera, he made a bold prediction. Are you aware of what that prediction was?
I'm not. I'm curious now,
Okay,
though.
T90 said whoever loses this series will win the entire tournament.
This serious?
No, the series that you played. So between you and
I
Hera,
see.
he said whoever loses
Oh, I see.
will win the tournament. So do you now know that you're T90's favorite to win the tournament?
I would be down, honestly.
Yeah?
I mean, I would go with that. Can't complain.
I was gonna say T90's
Yeah,
T90's like that's not as much of the kind of confidence as I would wanted to see there, like behind.
I
my
wanted my confidence. I mean, you know.
Did you learn? Do you feel like you learned something from yesterday's series that, like, if you were to rematch Hera later in the final, you don't have to reveal what that learning might be, but like, do you feel like maybe there's something you came away with there that
Hera
next
likes-
time if you have to face him?
Hera likes to talk, apparently.
Ah.
I mean, we kind of have our own meta, it feels like. We also practice a lot. So we both know our styles, we both know our preferences. So, you know, it's kind of like mind game as well, so that's
Yeah.
a bit luck involved.
Do you feel like you get
yeah.
better when the best ofs get bigger?
Not
Like
sure.
more maps better for you, or
Probably. I mean, looking at the maps, I always have to play Arena for some reason. You know, not my favorite, but
Well, now that
I'll
you
win a
played
game on
Khmer
it.
and got beat by Bohemians, you just go to Bohemians. Now.
Yeah,
I think you just play what you get beat by.
Yes, yes. And I will do the same strat as Villese did to me today.
Until it starts working.
Yeah, yeah.
All right,
go
well,
away.
phenomenal win here to keep yourself way up there in the standings. I'm going to let you go because I know you're going to be casting later, and hopefully we get a 5-game banger in that one. But next up, we've got TaToH versus Mr. Yo. We've got Nili and T90 seated at the desk for something.